Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Built for Legacy. I am your host, Suheyl Hernandez, and today I have the pleasure of sitting here with my friend, Maritza Miller, which she is someone that is extremely special to me and has a very special place in my heart, and I love dearly. So,
Thank you for having me today, my friend.
no, the pleasure is all mine. So, I always talk to people about you, right? Because to me, you're an inspiration. So I want you to talk about the things you do. This is your time. I want you to tell the audience what you do, how you do it. So come on, how did you get into real estate?
Okay, real estate, I got in real estate about 8 years ago. This was a complete career change, okay? I have never dealt with real estate before in my life, but I did had a home renovation company. And basically, one day I said, Maritza, you need to do something new. And, instead of selling a home renovation, like a home project or a bathroom renovation, I'm going to actually be selling the house. And that's how the idea started. Anyhow, I signed up for the class, I passed the exam, and that's how my life began in real estate. I like what I do because I like customer service, okay? To me, I have a pleasure of helping people, and I've always have. So this is a very kind of like intimate process, and this is like a big deal when somebody's looking to buy a house. So I enjoy what I do, and that's actually how I got started 8 years ago. I've been with my friend you all this time, and how it's been. It's been actually I have learned a lot from you and from Phantom Real Estate. Okay, at the beginning, I used to like get all frustrated and very worried because I didn't understand the process. But as time went by and I came to your classes and I started learning the transaction from A to Z, I understood the process, and little by little, it became more natural to me. And by having your help, and knowing that I was working with a team, I had a team behind me, that gave me great confidence to just go do what I do the best, which is, deal with the client and making sure that the client feels, trusted and comfortable with the transaction.
Because a lot of agents, a lot of salespeople don't understand that we should do 20% of the talking, 80% of the listening, and we have to make people feel good. We need to make sure that they trust us. We need to make sure that they understand that we're here to protect their best interest. And you've done a great job at that. I know you have kids, so why don't you tell
Yes.
us a little bit about your kids?
Well, I have two beautiful kids. They're young adults. My son Jamil, he's 20. Right now, he's at FIU student. He's studying computer engineering, which I'm so proud of him. And my daughter, she's 19. She's also in school. Right now, she's studying psychology. She's doing extremely well. They both drive. They give me a lot of headache, but they're wonderful, and they're healthy, good kids, and I love them. I love seeing them grow. To young people, they're beautiful, and they're the love of my life. They give me the strength to do what I do.
So I remember when you had to leave running because you had to go pick up the kids. 'Cause since you've been
Yes.
here for such a long time, I've seen you with your children. I've seen you go through ups. I've seen you go through downs, and you've always managed to do what you got to do. And it didn't matter if the kids were little and you had to go pick them up from school or take them to school. You always managed to show up and had great work ethics. And I think that
Yes.
that's why you are so successful in your career. So I want you guys to know she came up to the stage 3 times last year.
Oh, yes.
3 times last year because she deserved every single award that you got. So
Yes.
I want you to tell them a little bit about which is your favorite type of transaction, because like I tell everybody, and one of the reasons why I am so proud of you is that it doesn't matter what transaction it is. It doesn't matter if it's something as small as an efficiency. Like, you don't say no. It doesn't matter if it's a rental, if it's a sale, if it's a listing, and it doesn't matter how small or how big it is.
Yeah.
So I want you to tell me which one is your favorite.
To be honest, I don't have a favorite per se, because my best interest is to help that person, whether it's like you're saying, whether it's efficiency, whether it's a sell or buy or investment. I want to help that person to achieve their goal at that moment. And for me, it doesn't matter if it's here in Miami or if in Tampa, Ocala, whatever it needs. My license is of Florida. I'm licensed in Florida State, so that's where I work. To me, there's no boundaries. And it doesn't matter if it's an efficiency in Ocala, I go there. I'll drive 5 hours, but I make sure that my client finds the efficiency that he's looking for. And that's what gives me pride, just to help the person. And I don't see time, I don't see distance. What I see is that person at the end being able to handle the key to whatever that is, to a rental, to a buy, to the first investment, whatever it is. That moment, it was that what drives me. So in reality, I don't have a favorite. They're all my favorites. Some of them are more special than the others, but I enjoy the time. And I love driving, so I don't care. I hop on my car and I drive whatever I need to drive. So that's...
You became, like you farmed Ocala pretty well.
Yes.
And you were up there a lot. And how did you get to the Ocala area?
Okay, that's actually interesting. The way that I came about to my first transaction in Ocala was through a friend of mine, actually, that his mom was selling here in Miami. And one of the reasons why she was selling is because she was already a retiree, and where she lived, the association just kept going up and up and up. And she had bought the house a while ago, so she knew she had a good equity. So she goes to me and Maritza, where can I go and buy a house cash where I don't have to carry a mortgage or an association payment? And I started doing research. And I gave her a couple of options, but for some reason, we end up in Ocala. And I say, listen, there's new construction homes, brand new. They have warranty, and the price is between 200 and 250,000. And she goes like, well, Maritza, it's a little far out, but I'm willing to go and look. So we made the trip. I showed her several options, and it just happened that she fell in love with the city. The city is actually, it's right now, it's up and coming. Okay, it's not a major city, but it's like a little city and it's growing, but it's very homey per se. You know what I mean? And especially her being an elderly person, she didn't like much the buzz of the city, so it just felt right for her. So that's how that transaction came about. Now from there, she referred me to a friend that did exactly the same thing. She sold here in Miami and bought over there. So little by little, I started, and actually last year, I think I sold about 4 properties over there, but from that same referral. And it was people here living in Miami that were already retiree. They couldn't cope up with the mortgage or the association going up, and they decided to sell and go buy over there. And that's how I end up in that area. And from there, the referrals. Referrals.
Because this is a referral business.
Exactly.
And
yes.
that's, a lot of people don't understand that. Listen, this is a referral business.
Exactly.
But now you get a lot of listings, you do a lot of sales. But I remember, which by the way, I didn't like you at the beginning.
I know she didn't. Oh my God.
I did not like her because she called. And now that I know her, I know she didn't mean any bad, but she told me, you have to do this. And I was like,
I remember saying that.
Oh, lady, I don't have to do anything. I am actually, out of courtesy, I am checking your work. This is not, I don't have to check the work. I do this for protection for our brokerage and as a service to our agents, but I don't have to. So yeah, that's how our relationship started. And now we're friends.
Yes.
Anyways, again, you have a lot of listings, you have a lot of sales transactions, but I've seen your growth.
Yes.
And I know where you started.
Yes.
And I know that you started with rentals.
Yes.
And I remember, I believe Mike had to fight for you on
Yes.
a lot that you made, what, $200 or something like that?
$200, yes.
Yes. So talk to me about how you started in the rentals and how those tenants now are buyers.
Yes.
And I would like for people to understand, because a lot of people, they don't want to do rentals.
Yeah, no, and that's the biggest mistake. Let me tell you, at the beginning when you're a new agent, okay, obviously maybe you don't have the confidence in yourself, and you don't have the clientele behind you. But you have to understand rentals, okay, that's your bread and butter. Why? First of all, it's quick money, okay? You do a rental at the end of the month, you get paid. You don't have to wait 30 days, 45 days like a normal transaction would. And not only that, that is the person that's going to be buying next year. So that's the pipeline, what we call a pipeline. So imagine if you do like 4 or 5 rentals a month, okay? By the time that that person is ready to renew the lease, obviously you stay in contact with that person, but you check on them, or you help them get the credit better if they're not at that moment, or whatever. You just follow up with that person. What I'm trying to say, at the end of the next year, okay, when they're ready to lease, that person might be ready to buy. So that's right there. You have a salesman, and since they already work with you, they trust you, and that's an easy sell afterward. And imagine you get 1, 2, 3 piled up. By the next year, that same time, you could have 3, 4, 5 sales at that month. And even today, yes, I do have a lot of listings. I do a lot of sales. I work with investors as well. But today, a rental calls me. Believe me, I drop anything I'm doing to take care of that rental because I understand that rental is going to be my future buyer. It doesn't matter if it's next year or the following year, but eventually they will buy. And not only that rental also gets me referral. That going back to saying this business is a referral business. Mm-hmm. Yes, you do spend money on leads. Yes, you do spend money on social media. But believe me, what's going to get you out there is the job that you have done before. That person that you help is the one that's going to get you your next client. So referrals and rentals are your bread and butter. And I wish more agents will understand that. You understand? So, and some people say, I don't do rentals like maybe not valuing what it is, but you don't have idea. That's a gold mine. You understand? It's a gold mine.
And something else that people don't understand, because there is people that never want to buy. I mean, that type of tenants do exist. But if you do a good job, not only are you going to get referred, but that person is going to continue to utilize you as their agent. Exactly. So if they renew with you or they move with you 5 times, you still made a sale on them, exactly, even though you did more transactions. But I personally think, and I tell everybody that rentals are
it's a gold mine.
It is, and it's more than people could imagine. There's another agent here in the office that very young, 22 years old, came from Cuba a year ago, and that kid is killing it with rentals.
Yes.
And now he has sales, and people call him back, and he really began, with rentals. So tell me the story. Why don't you tell me the story of the lot? What happened with that lot? Because I don't remember.
Okay. Actually, there's several stories, okay? The one that you talk about with Mike, that was actually a rental, okay? This was one of my first rentals way when I started in Deerfield. I remember the rental was for $450. Mind you, half of it would be mine. But it was a very difficult rental. And at that moment, going back to what I was saying, once you understand the process, you don't stress out. But back then, I was a newbie. I was stressing out of my mind. And I called my broker, Mike. And I say, Mike, listen, this guy is telling me that he's not going to give me the rental. And I was just like talking, 10,000 times. I was saying, and then Mike says, "Come down, wait, let me talk to the guy." To sum up the story, Mike ended up calling the guy. The deal went through, okay? I ended up getting $200, okay? And I was so proud of my $200. But mind you, after I went and showed the property, gas, food, I mean, in reality, $200, it didn't make sense back then. But I mean, to me, I didn't care, okay? To me, it was that I was able to help the guy. My broker helped me, and he always going to tell you that story. But I mean, I was just, going crazy, and he helped me out with that transaction. But I didn't care it was $200. I didn't care. That was
but there was something with a lot. What happened? Something happened with a lot. And I think it was a $10,000 lot. Like, it was something like...
Well, last month, okay?
Yeah, but I'm talking about years ago.
Yeah, I have several stories, okay? To be honest, I don't remember that one, but I know it's been like...
Okay, so why don't we say the one for last month?
Last month, literally. Okay, okay, now with the laws that have changed, I had to negotiate my commission. Okay, it came down, my commission, to be literally $200. After my cut, my paycheck was $160. I had Anna, my title girl. She called me. She was like, "So Maritza, since you're going to make such a amount of money, what you gonna do with this commission?" And I'm like, I'm trying to see if I don't end up owing Phantom something. But then again, it goes back. I do not care. It could be $160. It could be $20,000. I do not care. My service to my client is the same. It doesn't change. It doesn't matter going back again, efficiency, whatever it is. Like my level of service and my level of loyalty will always be the same. It doesn't change. And that's the way I am.
And that goes to show you. And then people say and question, right? Because others question, oh, why does she do it? How does she do it? Why does she get 3 awards? She works for them,
Yeah.
right? Like, she doesn't say no. And I've never, in like about 8 years that you've been here, I've never had a complaint on Maritza, like ever. The phone here at the brokerage has never rang to say that Maritza Miller did something wrong.
Yeah.
It's never.
No, let me tell you something. It's something that I value, and it's not something that I value. It's my character, okay? I do the best I can for other people, obviously, but I always keep my integrity because that is my business card. You understand? Whatever I do doesn't matter, and it doesn't have to be with everyone. Even in my personal life, I try to walk by God's hand. Okay, I don't like to talk about this so much, but I have a big, huge faith in God, and I believe that I have to walk in His feet so that when people see me, they'll see, the love that God has for us. You understand? So it's just in my nature. Okay, I am very ethical. Whatever I do, I always try to. I'm not perfect, okay, but I try to do everything with the. Oh my God, with all the paperwork that we have to sign, I always like try to like have everything signed, everything like proper. I don't like to do anything improper. When there's things that I cannot handle, the first one I'm calling is Suheyl, like, Suheyl, this is happening. And she will tell you, okay, when I make that phone call, it's because I have no other way to go, or I cannot find the answer for that problem. So that's when I call. But then again, I always try to be just and be right. You understand? Because when you're like that, people trust you, and that's your reputation. And in this business, it's extremely important. You understand? Because you are dealing with people's dreams, people's life, people's money, and you have to be responsible. You have to understand what you're doing and what you're representing. So I always try to be right.
So that's what some people don't understand. When you do right, right comes back.
Exactly. Yes.
Right comes back, and you don't. Sometimes it's not for the money. There's clients that you have to say no to.
Exactly.
And there's transactions that you have to say no to. But, some agents don't understand that.
Yeah.
And you see, having integrity and doing things right and being right, look how far it's gotten you.
Exactly. Yeah. And I tell you what, that's another reason why I have felt here being home. Okay, as I don't know if my story. Okay, I come from a bigger brokerage. When I started my career, I went to another brokerage, and I was there literally for like about 8 months until I was, fortunate enough to come to work with you guys. And back then we were other franchise, and then we became something else until we are now Phantom. And I've always joked around with her, I will never leave here. If you don't fire me, you're stuck with me. I will never leave. And it goes back to the same, because here I feel that. First of all, we're family, okay? Secondly, we're not treated as a number, okay? And thirdly, you guys have, and when I say you guys, you and Mike, integrity, righteousness, you know what I mean? That warm-hearted feeling that you guys treat us, you understand? And that's what have made me stay here. Then again, I could have the possibility to go to another brokerage, because they do call me.
They call you. You guys every single day.
My phone is always ringing, But I say no, thank you, because I feel at home here, and I like the values that you guys carry and what Phantom represents. Okay, if you don't know the story or how Phantom became, it's a beautiful story, and maybe you should take time to know about them. But that's what makes me stay here. Your values, the trust that you guys put in us, and that drive to teach us and make us better. Because One day she threw me under the bus. I was going to do a walkthrough on a rental. I was with my little hat and my little camisita, my little shirt, and she goes to me, "We're doing a video today." I'm like, "What?" And I tell you what, I was so nervous that day, but this guy, she did that because now I can go on my social media, I get in front of the camera, I talk, and I can speak to whoever I need to speak. And that was because of that moment that she did throw me under the bus, but I'm really thankful.
And I'm glad you say that, because each and every one of you have a special place in our heart. Yes. And I know that not only you, but the rest of the agents value that, since when we transitioned, yes, everybody came, right? With the exception of 3 people, everybody came and transitioned with us. So we feel lucky. We don't feel lucky. We are blessed. Mm-hmm. We are blessed because we do have an extended family. And a lot of times I tell people, this brokerage is not like other brokerages. This is like a huge family. Exactly. Where nobody here is a number. Everybody here is valued. Everybody here gets the same attention. It doesn't matter if you're starting or if you're at 100%. Like, you get the same attention, and I'm glad to hear that you feel like that. And yes, she always tells me that she's never going to leave and that I'm going to have to kick her out. But you're not the only one that tells me that. I actually have one agent that I have told to please leave the brokerage on more than 5 occasions, and he looks at me and tells me, "I'm not leaving, not even if you fire me." So I'm like, yeah. But anyways, if you can say something, like if you can help a new agent with a few little tips, what would you tell that new agent that is starting, hungry like you, willing to learn? What would you recommend?
Okay, one thing that helped me at the beginning, okay, you need to be able to understand the process of a transaction, okay? And why that is important? Because by you knowing the process of a transaction from A to Z, okay, it allows you to be one step ahead, okay? You have to understand your deadlines. You have to understand, first, try to foresee the problem. Now, if a problem should arise, okay, focus on the solution, not the problem. Because every single agent, we all love and dream, to have a smooth transaction. And it does happen, but we live in real life. There's going to be time where things happen, you understand? Yeah. But instead of like becoming overwhelmed with the problem, no, immediately switch, focus on the solution. And then again, think about that you're working with the team behind you. You're not alone. We're not alone, okay? And myself, whenever I have a problem, the first one I call you. But then again, we not only have you, think about also the title company. You have your title girl. Even the lender is your friend. And you have to understand that we are a team. And also the other agent on the other side, that's your friend too. It's his interest and my interest to accomplish the transaction in the best way for both clients, his client and mine. So we have to work as a team. And going back, understanding the process of a transaction, whether you are in a rental, selling, or buying, you have to understand that. Once you understand that, then you own it, and then you can be a step ahead. That way, foreseeing any issues that might arise. And by you being a step ahead, you can be a step ahead of the game. And that's what I would say. And always be teachable. If you don't know something, be humble enough to say, "I don't know something, let me call somebody." It doesn't matter, Suheyl or any of the girls here, Mike, just call somebody, and learn. Don't be ashamed of saying, "Listen, I don't know." I learn every day. I'm sure you learn every day. So do I. And that's what I would say. Learn the process, focus on the solution, and always know that you have a team behind you. That's the 3, tips that I would say.
So I'm glad that you said that. Focus on the solution and not the problem, right? Because I always tell you guys that.
Yes.
Right? I always tell you guys that. And that's something that we should do in life, period. Exactly. Not only in your careers. Like, when you have a situation in life, which we all have situations, forget about the situation. How do we overcome this? How do we solve this? And that's going to help you a lot in life, because it's not going to give you like that big pressure on your chest. Because when you only focus on the problem and not the solution, and you dwell on the problems, all you're doing is putting pressure on your chest. Like,
Exactly.
that's not going to get you anywhere.
Exactly.
So, anyways, my friend, it's been an honor sitting here with you,
Thank you.
listening to you, because there is things that I learn when I sit with different individuals here in the podcast, because I don't know everything about everybody. So it's been an honor. Thank you.
Thank you for having me. And I'll be back anytime you want me, okay?
Whenever
I love
you have,
talking to you.
Okay, whenever you have some stories, some tips, for new agents, whether it's new agents or it's about life itself, this podcast is meant to help people, to motivate people, and for everyone to understand that the same way the people that are sitting here have made it, you can make it too. You can make it too. All you have to do is be willing, and want it, and surround yourself with the correct people. Exactly. It's okay to hire coaches. I've coached her personally, and I've coached many other agents on a one-on-one level, and it makes a big difference. So it's okay to take all those steps, and it's okay to understand that you're not behind, you're right where you need to be at the moment. So Thank you again for watching another episode of Built for Legacy. Don't forget to hit like and to subscribe and to follow us on social media. Bye.
Bye.